Stuart Nash has been demoted again and is now on a final warning. It comes after the Prime Minister was made aware that Nash shortcutted the rules by directly contacting Immigration New Zealand on behalf of a constituent. Hipkins says there's a pattern of behaviour, but rather than stripping Nash of his portfolios, he's dropped him to the bottom of the cabinet rankings. Here's political editor Jenna Lynch.
Here we go again.
Last night I was made aware of a further situation involving Stuart Nash.
Embattled Minister Stuart Nash admitted to the Prime Minister he'd broken the rules again last year, contacting a senior ministry official to speed up an immigration case. Ministers are very much not supposed to do that.
We have processes and rules in place for a reason.
Chris Hipkins wielding a feather rather than an axe, handing down repeat offender Nash's sentence.
I did consider whether dismissal or resignation was appropriate in light of these two more recent instances.
Deciding it wasn't, sparing him a sacking, demoting him to the bottom of the cabinet rankings, but keeping him at the table.
He's aware that this is his last chance, so any further lapses in that area will clearly result in him no longer being a minister.
It's really weak leadership from Chris Hipkins. This is a minister that's failed to meet the standard and uphold the cabinet manual now 3 times. It's not personal. He has to go, and he would if he was in my government.
Nash was attempting to help a medical professional who had their immigration case clogged in the system. Ministers are supposed to raise these things with the immigration minister. Nash leapfrogged that and went straight to the decision makers.
His intervention unclogged the case from the process, but it did not result in any change to what the decision was.
It's Nash's 3rd strike in the space of 3 days. He resigned as police minister on Wednesday after admitting he'd contacted the police commissioner about a court sentence he didn't like.
I wasn't the Minister of Police. I was chewing the fat with a guy who was a mate.
Yesterday it was revealed he'd been warned by the Attorney General David Parker about commenting on police cases in the past. Not that anyone passed that on to the PM. Are you in control of your cabinet?
It would have been useful to know that in advance. I think the Attorney General clearly didn't recall that at an appropriate time in terms of alerting me to it.
Despite saying he'd asked Nash for a reassurance there was nothing else on Wednesday.
Yes, I have, and I have received that assurance from him.
Nash apparently also had a case of brain fade.
I accept him at his word that he did not recollect it. I, however, would have an expectation that he would recall something like that.
Confidence waning.
My confidence has been dented, but not to the point where I think he should lose his job.
Hipkins hopeful Nash's dashed memory hasn't failed to recall anything else of note.
Jenna joins us now. Kia ora, Jenna. Well, Stuart Nash must be thanking his lucky stars right now he wasn't sacked.
9 lives, Nash lives another day. 3 strikes and not out. The Prime Minister says the mitigating factor in this is that although Nash was a bit brash, he didn't do any of this for personal gain. And politically, when you look at what he was advocating for here, a tough sentence for a cop killer and for immigration officials to pull finger in keeping a health worker in the country, probably most in the public think he's done the right thing. His problem was he's gone about it in the wrong way. There's a little bit of a risk for the opposition in this. Christopher Luxon dealt basically the same punishment to one of his MPs, Barbara Kuriga, after it was found that she inappropriately used a parliamentary letterhead to advocate on behalf of her son. So there is an element of hypocrisy in him calling for a sacking when he wasn't prepared to do it himself. Sacking Nash would have been the easy thing for Hipkins to do. He is a liability, and all things considered, Nash is very lucky to escape with the reprimand that he has. So Nashy, some free advice: go and buy yourself a lotto ticket for this weekend's special cyclone draw.
Political editor Jenna Lynch, tēnā koe.